I'm Sarah, 28 years old. On a quiet Tuesday morning in September, while making breakfast for my kids, something happened that changed everything. I died. I worked as a teacher at the elementary school. My husband Tom is my best friend. We have 2 boys. Jake is 7 and loves dinosaurs, and little Ben just turned 4. I had gotten some tattoos over the years. A butterfly on my ankle when I turned 21. A quote about strength on my shoulder blade after my mom got sick. A small heart with my boys' initials on my wrist. They felt like parts of my story, little pieces of who I was. I never really questioned them. That morning, Tom had already left for work. The boys were still sleeping. I was in the kitchen making pancakes when it hit me. Not like you see in movies with dramatic clutching and falling. Just a sudden, crushing weight in my chest like someone had wrapped steel bands around my heart. I couldn't breathe. Couldn't call out. My legs just folded and I went down right there on the kitchen tiles. The last thing I remember thinking was something so ordinary. I forgot to put the milk back in the fridge. That was it. Then Jake's sleepy voice calling, "Mommy," from upstairs. His little footsteps on the stairs. Then everything went black and quiet. But the quiet wasn't scary. It was the most peaceful thing I'd ever felt. All the worry, all the rushing around, all the noise just stopped. I felt weightless. Free. Then I opened my eyes, though I don't know how since my body was still lying there on the floor. I could see myself from above, my hair spread out on the cold tiles, one arm reaching toward the stove where the pancakes were starting to burn. It didn't frighten me. It was like watching someone else's story. I felt a gentle pulling, like being carried by warm water, and I started moving upward. Through the ceiling, past the boys' bedroom where they were starting to wake up, through the roof and above our little house. I could see the whole street, neighbors getting ready for work, school buses starting their routes. Everything looked so small and far away. A deep humming started filling everything around me. Not a sound I heard, but something I felt in my whole being. Pure peace. The world below grew dim and fuzzy. The morning sky turned into soft darkness. Then, in the middle of that darkness, a light appeared. It started tiny, like a distant star. But it grew bigger and brighter, moving toward me. It wasn't harsh or blinding. It felt alive and warm and welcoming. As it got closer, I could feel what it was, love. But not just love like I knew it. This was love that knew everything about me. Every mistake, every selfish thought, every time I'd lost my patience with the boys. And it didn't just forgive me. It celebrated me. The light took shape. A man made of pure light, wearing clothes that looked like they were woven from starlight itself. His face, I can't really describe it. Like looking at the sun but seeing every happy memory you've ever had all at once. His eyes weren't any color I could name. They held joy and sadness at the same time, looking at me with a love that took my breath away. I knew who he was without having to ask. Every part of my soul recognized him. Jesus. His voice wasn't really a voice. It was more like thoughts appearing in my mind, but warmer than any sound. Like my dad's voice when I was little, mixed with every kind word I'd ever heard. "Welcome, Sarah. I've been waiting for you." I started crying without having tears. I felt so small, so unworthy. I thought about all the times I'd been impatient with the boys, all the Sundays I'd chosen sleeping in over church. The guilt started creeping in, but he just washed it away. "That's all finished now," he said, raising a hand made of light. "Look at yourself." I looked down. I was also made of light, but dimmer than his. I looked for my tattoos, the butterfly, the quote, the heart with the boys' names. They were gone. My spiritual skin was clean and perfect. I felt complete in a way I'd never known on earth. He knew my confusion before I could form the question. The marks you put on your earthly body aren't the real story of who you are. Then he showed me something. Not like watching TV, but like being inside the moments. He wanted me to understand something important about tattoos, something he said many people were confused about. First, he took me to a tattoo shop. A teenage girl was getting her first tattoo, a skull with roses. She was angry at her parents, wanting to rebel, to show them she was tough. But Jesus showed me what was happening in the spirit. As the needle put ink into her skin, a thin, dark thread came out of the image and connected to her spirit. Not a demon, he made clear, but an anchor. A spiritual tie. She's marked her temple with the story of her rebellion, Jesus explained sadly. That mark will give her anger a place to live and grow. She thinks it makes her strong, but it chains her to her own pain. I watched her future flash by. Fights with her parents got worse. She made choices that hurt her. The anger that was now honored on her skin kept growing. The scene changed. We were in a cleaner shop. A man in his 30s was getting a memorial tattoo for his brother who died in a car accident. His heart was full of love but also deep grief. This is love, Jesus said, but love chained to earthly loss. He showed me the man's spirit. The tattoo was like an anchor keeping part of his soul tied to the cemetery. It kept the grief fresh instead of letting it heal. Every time he looked at it, he relived the pain of losing his brother instead of celebrating the life they'd shared. I was stunned. I thought about my quote tattoo, gotten after Mom's cancer diagnosis. I thought it made me stronger, but maybe it was keeping me tied to that fear. Then he showed me something that really surprised me. A young man, full of faith, was getting a large cross tattooed on his chest. He was so proud, telling everyone how he wanted to be a walking testimony for Jesus. Jesus looked at me with gentle sadness. Does he think my mark on his heart isn't enough? He showed me the spiritual reality. As the cross was drawn on his skin, it became a source of pride. In the future, the man would show off his tattoo at church events. He'd feel superior to Christians who didn't have one. The symbol meant to represent humility had become a token of religious pride. I didn't ask for my name to be carved in skin, Jesus said. I asked for it to be carved on the heart. The enemy can see the mark on skin and will use it. He'll whisper, "Look how devoted you are. Look at your great sacrifice." It becomes something the person trusts more than they trust me. Finally, he showed me my own tattoos. The butterfly from when I was young and wanted to feel free and wild. The quote that tied me to fear about sickness. The heart with my boys' names. You love your children, he said, and I felt his overwhelming love for me. That's good. But I must be your first love. By putting their names over your heart, you've made them the guardians of that space. But only I can truly guard your heart. It wasn't about rules or sin. It was about freedom. Every mark made in anger, grief, or even misguided devotion was a thread tying our eternal spirits to temporary feelings and identities. Your body is a temple, Sarah, he said. Not because it's a holy building, but because it's where my spirit lives. These marks are like graffiti on temple walls. They tell human stories, not God's story. My story is written in the blood I shed for you. That's the only mark you'll ever need. I fell to my knees in the light. I'm sorry. I didn't know. That's why you must go back. The words hit me like a punch. Go back to the chaos, the bills, the broken things. I looked at his face and saw my true home. No, I begged. Please let me stay here with you. He came closer, putting a hand on my shoulder. Your work isn't done. Many of my children are chained and don't know it. They think they're decorating the temple when they're locking its doors. You saw the truth. You must tell them. He paused. Tell them with love, not judgment. It's not about shame. It's about freedom. Tell them to bring their marked bodies to me, and I'll write a new story on their hearts. Then, just for me, Tom and the boys need you, Sarah. Your story with them isn't over. Go love them with the love I've shown you. Thinking of Jake and Ben was like a beautiful, terrible pain. I saw their faces, their sleepy morning hugs. The love I felt for them filled my chest. I don't want to leave you, I whispered. I'll never leave you, he promised. I'll be with you always. Go. With that word, I felt myself being pulled away from the light, falling backward into darkness. The peace was replaced by a terrifying falling sensation. Lightning shot through every cell in my body. Pain so intense it was white light in my head. I gasped, a huge burning breath that hurt my lungs. My chest felt crushed. We got her back. We got a pulse. My eyes opened to a white ceiling and faces in blue uniforms. An oxygen mask covered my face. Machines beeped frantically around me. Sarah, can you hear me? You went into cardiac arrest. You've been down for several minutes. I saw Tom then, his face pale and streaked with tears. Jake was clinging to his leg, eyes wide with fear. Our eyes met, and the relief that washed over Tom's face is something I'll never forget. I was in the hospital for days. The doctors called it a miracle. They said I was clinically dead for over 6 minutes with no pulse, no breathing. By all medical knowledge, I should have had severe brain damage if I survived at all. But I was fine. My heart was damaged but healing, and my mind was clearer than ever. When I tried to tell a doctor what I saw, he just smiled and wrote something on his chart. Probably hallucination from oxygen loss. But I knew it was more real than the hospital bed I was lying in. So here I am now. I know this sounds crazy. A year ago, I would have thought so too. But I can't keep what I saw to myself. I still have my tattoos. I see them every day when I get dressed, but they look different now. I don't see art or memories. I see anchors. I see stories that aren't the ones God wants to write for me. I'm not here to tell you to remove your tattoos or to judge you if you have them. That's not what Jesus asked me to do. He asked me to share His love and tell you about freedom. So I'm asking you to just look. Look at any marks on your body and be honest. What's the story behind them? Did you get them in anger, pain, pride, or just to fit in? Even with good intentions, could they be keeping part of you tied to this world instead of to the living God? Bring that story to Him in prayer. Just talk to Him about it. Say, Jesus, here's this mark. Here's why I got it. Here's the emotion behind it, and I give it to you. I don't want to be tied to this story anymore. Please write your story on my heart instead. That's the only tattoo that really matters, the one He writes. It's a mark of pure grace, invisible to the world, but it sets you completely free. That's what He showed me, and it changed everything. If this testimony touched your heart or opened your eyes, please like, share, and drop a comment below. We'd love to hear your thoughts. And don't forget to subscribe so you never miss more powerful stories, deep truths, and life-changing messages.